Welcome to MadHouse-Creations. For this project, I'm going to be creating some simple block molds of these small pumpkins from Amazon. They're just the cheap pumpkins that are solid foam, but I have a need for something that's hollow and that I can carve to use in my Halloween decorations. So to start this process, I just take some hot glue and make sure the stems are glued down good and secure. A lot of these cheap stems, you could pull them right out. Sometimes there's gaps underneath them. What you want is just a solid connection between the pumpkin and the stem itself. Once that's all set up, I just took these PVC caps to create a base. This will both hold the pumpkin off of the base of the mold, and it will also give you a place to pour the foam into when you go to reproduce these. So you just put a little hot glue on the pumpkin and then attach the base to it. On these smaller pumpkins, I use just 1/2 inch caps. And the ones that are a little bit larger, I use 3/4 inch. And you just want to put enough hot glue on there to hold it down securely. It's pretty important that everything's held down real well because the pumpkins tend to float in the silicone if they're not attached well. So to create the actual mold, I'm just taking some of this foam board that I have and then just cutting it to size. You can get this foam board at like the Dollar Tree. You just cut it with the razor blade. And I'm cutting a base here, and I want it big enough so there's roughly about 1 inch of space around the entire pumpkin. And then I'm just going to use a little hot glue to stick that pumpkin down to the board. Again, you want to make sure that it's pretty secure because you don't want your pumpkin to float. Now I'm cutting the walls for the mold. I have this foam board that's cut to about 1 inch over the top of the pumpkin. And when you do this, the easy way to do it is just to basically slice the paper on the one side of the foam board and then crack it. Because if you leave that paper attached on the inner side, it just helps seal it off so your silicone won't leak out. It's not necessary to do it this way, but it makes it a little bit quicker and easier. You don't have to use as much hot glue to seal it off. So once those 3 sides are cut to relatively the right size, just put a little hot glue down and then push it down on there and hold it until it sets up. And when you're making block molds, you use quite a bit of silicone because you got to fill up all the corners and void spaces in the box. So it costs a little bit more than other methods, but doing it this way is so much faster than any other way that I know of. One thing you want to do is make sure you seal off all the gaps in the mold box with hot glue. You don't want any little pinholes or anywhere that the silicone might leak out of. It tends to find even the smallest hole could empty your mold before it actually sets up. So adding a little extra glue on there doesn't hurt anything, and it just gives you a peace of mind knowing that your mold is completely sealed. So for this last piece to fill the gap, I just marked it to the correct size. And this one, and because of the way I'm putting this together with the 3 walls first, you got to make sure this last piece fits in there nice and snug. And now to put that last piece in, I just ran a bead of hot glue up the sides and across the bottom. And then I'm just going to set it in there and hold it until it dries. And again, I'm just going back and adding a little bit of hot glue to all the little cracks just to make sure it's good and sealed. And that's pretty much the process of building the mold. It's quick and simple. And now I'm going to get these other ones done, and it'll be time to pour the silicone. So when pouring this silicone, I like to have everything kind of laid out, planned out how I'm going to do it. The silicone that I'm using is like a 2-gallon kit. I think it was roughly about $120. If you're just making a single mold, you definitely don't need that much. You can look online for a volume calculator to kind of get a rough estimate of how much silicone you need to buy. But for this, I'm going to make a couple batches. I pretty much use this whole 2 gallons. And you just want it's a 50-50 mix. I'm going to start out by pouring the B in the container. I think I did, this first one was probably 32 ounces of B. And then I just added another 32 ounces of the A. And you want to be as accurate as you can on this. I think if you're off slightly, I haven't had any problems with it, but potentially you could have some issues. So use like a graduated measuring cup is typically what I do. But once that's all in there, just give it a good mix with a paint stick. Scrape the sides, scrape the bottom. This particular silicone has about an hour working time and like a 5-hour demold. So you have plenty of time. There's no rush on doing this. You could use like a vacuum chamber to get all the air bubbles out, but I don't have one, and I've never had an issue with this particular silicone. It's really thin and just degasses pretty well on its own. So just give it a good mix, probably for at least, 45 seconds to a minute. Scrape the sides of the container, bottom of the container. Just want to make sure you get it all incorporated. If you pour it from up high, it creates kind of a thinner stream and just helps pop any air bubbles that might be in it. And I just poured the silicone in the corner, and you just kind of let it flow over your item that you're molding. So then I ended up making 3 more batches of silicone to get these all filled up to the height that I wanted. You want to shoot for at least half an inch to an inch over the top of the item that you're molding. And when you're pouring the silicone in multiple batches, there's no issue with just dumping it right in. Like you don't need to let it cure or anything. You just put it right in, it'll mix in with the stuff you previously poured in there. One thing you want to do after your molds are filled up is just let it sit for 5-10 minutes and then look around the entire mold. Make sure nothing's leaking out. You don't want to discover that you had a small leak in the corner and come back to an empty mold with no silicone left in it and just a mess on your table. If you do happen to have a mold that leaks, you can always throw some tape on it. I've used clay. You could stick some more hot glue on it. There's, do whatever you can just to stop it from leaking, because it's potentially an expensive mistake. So the next day is time to demold these and see how they turned out. So what I do is just take a little screwdriver, pound it down the side of the mold, and then just proceed to break off all the sides. Most of the time, the molds just fall apart. You can't really save anything from this. And this is my favorite part of the process, because you get to see, how things are turning out. So to get this pumpkin out of here, you just take a little razor blade and you're going to cut down both sides of the pumpkin about halfway, just enough where you can pull the pumpkin out. So you just cut a slit with the razor blade. If you make your cuts a little jagged, it helps lock together when you put the mold back. And just give it a little inspection, make sure everything turned out the way you wanted. So now that all those were done, it's time to see if we can actually make these hollow pumpkins. So what I'm doing here is just taking some of that scrap foam board and cutting 2 pieces that I align along the slits. And this is just temporary for these first pours. I usually come back and cut a piece of plywood that fits the mold just like perfectly. And you just wrap a rubber band around it. I have these real long rubber bands that you don't necessarily need. Just any kind of small rubber band. You don't want it to squeeze too tight where it pushes on the mold itself. You just want it to hold it closed. You just want to make sure you don't have any gaps where the foam's going to leak out. And you can adjust them. You want to make sure the 2 halves of the mold kind of line up with each other the best you can. And now it's time to pour the polyurethane foam. This is just 6-pound polyurethane foam that I use on quite a few of my larger pumpkins. And it doesn't take a whole lot to do these, but because I'm doing them by myself, I just pour them in small batches and just do one at a time. It's probably only not even an ounce of liquid to fill one of these molds. So when I pour this foam, these cups that I have don't have lines on them. So what I just do is I pour the A in one and the B in the other and just sit them right next to each other. And as long as they're the same level, I know the mix ratio is going to be okay. Then you just put the A and the B together and give it a good mix. With this foam, you don't have a lot of time to work with. I think the working time's only probably less than 2 minutes. So you want to give it a good mix in the cup, and it'll start foaming up a little bit and turn kind of like a creamed coffee color. And you just get it in your mold and then just proceed to kind of rotate it around. What you're trying to do is just coat the entire inside of the mold. And this takes a little trial and error. Sometimes you can end up with thin walls, which at that point you could just go back and put another layer of foam in there. It's not a big deal. But once you get it dialed in right, you can pour like a hollow pumpkin with just one batch of foam, and it comes out with about a 1/4 inch thickness on the wall. So you just spin it around. It does get messy sometimes, so you want to do this over some paper, or what I usually do is just dump it over one of these mixing cups. And this part is where it gets a little messy. You just dump it over the cup and it'll drip out, but this is what allows you to make sure the whole thing is coated. And then you just set it aside, and in just 15 minutes or so, it hardens up, and you can demold it and see what you came up with. Hopefully it looks just like the original. So taking these out, just pull the rubber band off, and then, just give it a little wiggle so that stem doesn't break off. And sometimes there's a little flashing where the gap on the silicone was, but usually you can just break that off. And now to actually use these pumpkins. For these pumpkins, most of the time I just end up spray painting them. So I always start out with a first coat of latex paint. I can just put it on thick enough that it helps seal all the little holes in the foam. And just keeps the spray paint from soaking in too much. And just set that aside, let it dry. And then to carve these pumpkins, just draw your faces and then cut them out with an X-Acto knife. It doesn't take a whole lot to cut these. The walls on them are pretty thin, probably a 1/4 inch thickness at the most. So it's real simple to just push the X-Acto knife in there, and then you just carve it like you would with any other pumpkin. So to get these little pumpkins to light up like actual jack-o'-lanterns, I just take a little LED and some hot glue and just stick the LED inside and seal it off with a little hot glue. And these LEDs are the flickering flame LEDs. I'll put some links to them. And then once it's wired up, here's some little shots of what it looks like. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one.